Hello everyone and welcome back to Loading Screen, the series where we investigate loading screens and rank them based on their length, the information displayed on them, and their music. Today we are looking at a loading screen in F1 2021. To be serious, welcome back to my F1 2021, my team career mode. The reason we're looking at a loading screen is because once again my Xbox had some recording issues. This time it only recorded for about 10 seconds and then cut out without telling me. Which is absolutely fantastic, but got everything fixed by the time we got halfway through Q3, so that is what you're seeing now.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
But yeah, anyway, the rest of the video should be completely fine. Moving on, looking at this lap we're on, we're currently red, but our provisional lap is actually good enough for pole position as it stands, so long as no one improves, we will have pole position in the bag, but we'll need to complete this lap just to make sure, and hopefully we can find some improvement because it's a red middle sector and we are behind until we go through the final real corner and we go green again, so we will find some improvement over our first flying lap, and that will help our chances of pole position as we come towards the line and crossing it. Will it be enough?
Fantastic. You've got pole.
Yes, it will. As confirmation from Jeff there, it will be pole.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. The scientist, Perez, and Charles Leclerc. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So there we have it. I think that is our second pole position ever in this series, the first coming at the Belgian Grand Prix, with some crazy track evolution there, as I believe the track was drying at the end of the session. And we got out at just the right moment, but yeah, this time on pure pace, managing to take pole, and I think our first lap there would have actually been good enough on its own to take pole, so that's interesting. But nonetheless, we will move on into the race and see what we can achieve in this one. Brazil's usually been a good track for me, so let's hope for a good result here. We need one to take the championship lead from Max Verstappen, who's starting a little way down the order. So yeah, let's just get into it, see what happens.
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. Two very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junção into one of the two DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the scientist. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. The scientist lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Sainz, Norris, Matsushita, Ocon and Sebastian Vettel, Stroll, Tsunoda. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mick Schumacher and Ricciardo, Russell, Giovinazzi, Valtteri Bottas and Pierre Gasly, Raikkonen, Fernando Alonso. They've taken a grid penalty. Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Let's aim for a little more than that. With pole position, we should be able to aim for the win today. Anything less will be slightly disappointing, but certainly I think a podium should be the absolute bare minimum that we should be aiming for. But yeah, with the pace we have this weekend, the race win is the ultimate target. Unfortunately, Yuki Tsunoda with a grid penalty, so he's starting down the order. And with that, the Constructors' Championship is, well, it was already looking tough. Now it seems even tougher. But yeah, we'll get going for the formation lap. It's a weird feeling setting off on pole position. Not something we've done too much.
We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing to get used to, and we are very aggressively warming up our tyres. We want to make sure we have the best start we possibly can here. So let's go to the 5 red lights, and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it's a good start for us, and we will have enough in hand to take the lead or maintain the lead into the first corner. And we have kept things nice and clean, and we'll let all the chaos unfold behind us. Looks like things are going okay. No yellow flags for the time being, as we will head down towards turn 4 for the first time. And we are away and clear. No pressure from behind. We've actually made a very good start and run through the first few corners, and very quickly getting into a rhythm around this circuit. And that's something I've typically found around here. It's quite easy to get up to speed and just sort of settle into a good rhythm at this circuit. And we are doing that already in the early phases of this one. As we, as I say, that we go a bit wide there, but nonetheless, we are pushing our way and making a bit of clear air behind us. So that is exactly what we need to do. We want a lights to flag victory with absolutely no action at all. That would be ideal for us, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure something will come up at some point that will be of a disturbance to us. But anyway, meanwhile behind, Yuki Tsunoda putting the pressure on Nobuharu Matsushita and not able to get through. So Tsunoda, after that grid penalty, fighting away with cars that he typically wouldn't have to deal with. And a few laps later, he's still trying to make that move and still not able to do it. So Matsushita doing a good job to hold off Tsunoda, but frustration for our teammate, as he's just not quite able to make that move. Starting from lap 5 was the first time we caught him making that move. So we'll see how long it takes. But yeah, the AlphaTauri seems pretty quick in a straight line, so we've made a mistake and dropped down into 3rd position now. So while I've been talking about that, we've lost the lead. We go for a big dive back up the inside of Hamilton, and he's gone wide back there and dropped in behind Charles Leclerc. We'll have a look on board with Hamilton, and yeah, he ducked in behind us, and then I don't know if he saw Leclerc coming on the inside or if that was he was just catching the car, if he had just had a bit of a moment. But either way, sent himself off the road and drops in behind Leclerc. We go for a big dive up the inside of Sergio Perez and retake the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Perez slots in behind. So yeah, we managed to regain that one.
You made it look easy.
And immediately we go on the defensive as Perez is following in our wheel tracks to get the slipstream, but we hold on into turn 4 once again, and we maintain the lead of the race. Here's the onboard with Perez there, and he almost had to go, and he had another look as well. So Perez was very keen to get up the inside there, but ultimately he realized that door was closing, as we have another look at a replay of Yuki Tsunoda and Nobuharu Matsushita again fighting way behind, and again Matsushita is able to hold on. So very frustrating for Tsunoda, as again he goes for the move and again can't get it done. This is now lap 10, so he's been trying for 5 laps at least to make that 6 on that one. So yeah, really frustrating for Tsunoda.
Come on, you can win that place
as
back.
We are putting the pressure on Sergio Perez, as he's just gotten past us there. So we need to try and regain that place as soon as possible. We seem to be fairly evenly matched with Perez.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
So we'll see how it plays out. We don't have the opportunity to go back up the inside just yet, so we need to stay close through the middle sector and have a go later on. But as we continue on, we have bigger problems because instead of chasing down Perez, we are actually drifting back into Max Verstappen territory with Lewis Hamilton there as well. So yeah, we had to fend off those two, which we were able to do, as now Tsunoda's gotten through and made the move on Matsushita, but that's taken him a long time to do. But Tsunoda finally through on what is now lap 12 of this race. So he was stuck there for a while, and we cut straight from that shot onto this one, and you can see how far ahead of him we were, and yeah, just how much time he's lost with that fight. That's pretty much the end of his race for any decent positions, unfortunately being stuck for so long. Yeah, he lost a lot of time there, so yeah, that's unfortunate. We get back up the inside of Perez though, into turn 1, very deep into the grass on the exit, and Sergio Perez gets back through, so immediately losing that position again, and we're going to be in the DRS now, but we'll be too far back to really do anything, so we'll need to wait for another opportunity, which we will get later on, and we'll make the move around the outside nice and smooth, and move ourselves back up into the lead of the race on lap number 15 of this one. So yeah, running decently well in this race so far, but we just need to minimize the mistakes that are allowing Perez to catch up to us and make the move on us in the first place. There's another one, as it's actually Charles Leclerc on the inside now, not Sergio Perez, trying to make the move. We give him a bit of space on the inside of the final real corner on the circuit, but we managed to hold on to the position for the time being, although we're not going to have the help of DRS along the straight, and Charles Leclerc will, as he goes to the outside and gets through Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez goes for the move around the outside as well. We'll just about hold off the Mexican, and he'll slot back into line, as now he is under threat from Hamilton, but holds on to the position now. Can we get back up the inside of Leclerc? We go for the big dive up the inside, very late on the brakes, maybe a bit too late, but we make the corner and make the move stick on Charles Leclerc, maybe a bit of contact with the Ferrari.
Tyre condition is still looking good.
But we made the move fair enough, I think. We were super late on the brakes, but there was still plenty of space for Leclerc to go, but he turned in, made a bit of contact with us, and I'm not sure if he's got damage from that or not, but nonetheless, it is time for our first pit stop anyway in this race, and we'll be heading on to a new set
Complete, go now.
of tyres.
We'll be doing one more stop today, one stop left in our strategy.
And we're on the softs again, so yeah, these will take us through until our final stop, where we'll go on to the mediums to the end of the race, but anyway, we continue on. That was a very slow pit exit for us, and we actually get jumped by Carlos Sainz, who is actually on a 2-stop, so a 3-stop rather. We are on a 2-stop, but Sainz and I believe Lando Norris are on 3 stops, as we're getting very close, and we're going to go for the move now, and that was a very late and aggressive move to the inside. You don't often overtake at that corner, but we managed to get through there on Sainz, who did not see that coming, but yeah, we managed to use the curb on the inside and make that one stick, and move it ourselves ahead of Carlos Sainz, and we now go chasing down Lando Norris, and we'll make the move around the outside into turn 1, and we'll get ahead of Lando. Maybe a bit of contact there at the apex of the first corner. We certainly got very close, but nonetheless we are through and up into the lead.
No need to worry about tyre condition for now, everything's looking good.
Also worth noting, Carlos Sainz is on the medium compound tyres at the moment, so yeah, he is running a different strategy, but anyway, we push on, and we're still fighting away with Lando Norris, and he gets through around the outside as we get a bit wayward on the curb there, and Lando Norris takes the lead of the race, but we will fight back as early as we can up the inside into the final real corner. I know there's a name for it, I've forgotten it, but I really need to remember the corner names better around this circuit. But anyway, we're side by side with Lando all the way through those last few corners, and onto the straight. We have the DRS advantage, and that will help us move ahead of Lando Norris, but that was a nice little battle in a straight line there, but we managed to get ahead with the help of DRS. But down the inside goes Norris, and now around the outside we go through the first corner, and we'll have the inside for turn 2, and that will help us maintain that position once again. So Norris seems to have the pace at the moment, and we're just holding him off just about here in Brazil, but he's certainly trying his best to get past us. But yeah, for now we're just doing enough to maintain the lead of this one. But yeah, it's not going to be easy as he does get through there, and we're down into second position once again. We have a look around the outside, no move to be made there, and we now get a good exit onto the second straight. DRS open as we head down towards turn 4. We have a look to the left, Norris covers it off, we go to the right, round the outside of Lando Norris, and we get the job done. We move ourselves back up and into the lead of this one, as we are just about at the halfway point of this race. So things are going along alright for now as we go a bit wide. Leclerc now up the inside as we head through the middle sector, and Leclerc is through as we get very close, maybe even making a bit of contact there with the rear end of Charles Leclerc's car, and hopefully that hasn't done any damage to our front wing. But Leclerc pits, and we retake the lead as we are now on lap number 40. We are going to make our pit stop, and this will clear up whether we had any front wing damage. It didn't feel like it, but we are getting that changed anyway as a precaution, it seems. But medium tyres on, and these will take us to the end of the race. And
strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Hopefully we will be able to find a bit more pace on these. If we did have front wing damage, that would explain why we were just lacking that little bit of pace in the last stint. So we'll see what we can do in this one. So yeah, let's get going once again and see if we can chase down
our teammate by 4.4 seconds. The gap to the car behind is 2.1 seconds.
Okay, a bit close to contact there with Carlos Sainz, but anyway, we get through on the Spaniard, and here's an on board with Sainz. We went very deep into the first corner as we tried to make that move, but yeah, looks like he just about saw us there on the inside at the last moment, and we're able to make that move.
Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage.
And actually, there must have been a bit of contact.
Just focus on the driving.
Because we do have front wing damage, so we must have made contact with Sainz at some point there. It didn't really look like it from those angles, but it must have just been very slight. But it's hindering our pace at the moment as we're now fighting away with Charles Leclerc. We don't really have quite the grip that we did before, and it's now being it's becoming very difficult to even maintain pace versus Charles Leclerc behind us, and Lewis Hamilton too. So yeah, it's not ideal for us. We've just got the front wing changed. Now it seems to be even worse than it was before. So yeah, it's not an ideal situation. Now we run very wide.
Right there. Don't worry about the mistake. Just focus on the rest of the race.
And yeah, we getting a bit of coaching from Jeff because we are not in a good rhythm anymore. I spoke about getting in a good rhythm at the start of this one, but right now we have completely lost us. Hamilton makes a big mistake, goes very deep there into turn 4, and has a bit of a moment on the exit. We managed to get through there and retake that position, but Lewis Hamilton, all sorts of out of shape, just got way too deep on the brakes as he was fighting to, I think he was trying to overtake Charles Leclerc, but he got it all wrong, and yeah, he ends up running deep. He gets back past us just as quickly though, as we just do not have the pace anymore at this phase of the race.
We have P6.
And here we go into the pit lanes to get that front wing changed because the damage, I think, has escalated even further than what it was a short time ago. So yeah, a new front wing on the car once again, and a set of soft compound tyres to take us to the end of the race.
Go now.
And we'll see how these go. We were fighting with Hamilton and Leclerc at the time, so I doubt we'll be able to get back up to them, but you never know. It could be possible to catch up that many positions. We'll see how it goes, but a safety car would certainly be very much welcome at the moment.
You're in ninth position. Signs ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 15.2 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Gasly behind. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 24 laps to go.
So still quite a long time left in this race, about a third of the distance left, and a long gap to Carlos Sainz, but with brand new, or almost brand new soft tyres on the car, we gain that time very, very quickly. And it's actually not Sainz we catch up to, it's actually Charles Leclerc that we see first, and he has got damage from the contact we made at some point, or contact he made with someone. It may not have been with me, but nonetheless, Leclerc has damage, and we make the move on him very, very easily. And now we start catching up to the first of the lapped cars. That is Kimi Raikkonen getting out of the way. Been a tough race for him in his final Brazilian Grand Prix, and he doesn't cause any fuss for us. And now we do start catching Carlos Sainz as we get past Nicholas Latifi, also getting out the way and giving us plenty of space to work with. But yeah, we're within range of Carlos Sainz now, so we just need to wait for an opportunity to make a move. We've even got DRS here as we head towards the first corner. To the outside we go, and with the fastest lap of the race, we'll go around the outside of Carlos Sainz. We don't quite get to the inside of turn 2, and Sainz will hold on for a little bit longer as we slot back in behind the Ferrari with Mick Schumacher pulling off to the left there and letting us go. We go for the dive up the inside of Carlos Sainz, way too deep on the brakes though, and Sainz switches back and gets back in front of us. So good switch back there from Sainz as yeah, we were nowhere near making turn 4, and Carlos Sainz was able to take advantage there and retake the position. And now we get very close to the back, but don't make any contact with Carlos Sainz, and we are back in 8th position at the moment, so a little way off where we pit still, so a few more positions would be nice. And with Carlos Sainz looking slow here, we're going to make the move up the inside and into the final real corner, and we get the move done.
Good job.
And move ourselves back up into 7th position, so getting some okay points for this one as things stand, but a few more positions would not go astray.
3.1 seconds.
So a bit of time gap to try and close up to the next car, which is our teammate Yuki Tsunoda. So let's see if we can chase him down, and we've got time on our side in terms of laps left in the race. So let's see what we can do as Valtteri Bottas gets out of the way for us there, and he's not going to be a problem for us. Now we catch up to Yuki Tsunoda, but we've caught him at a kind of awkward time because there's not really an easy way past through this part of the circuit when you're in the same car. It's always going to be difficult to try and find an advantage somewhere, but at the moment we don't really have anything on Yuki until we get to the second straight once again, and we go through the middle of Tsunoda and Giovinazzi, and we managed to make that work. But that was very close on either side, with Gio getting out of the way for both of us there. We were midway through our own fight, but now we've got a wall of lap cars in front of us as the Alpines are there, as well as George Russell in the Williams, and they all begin to move themselves out of the way, and Matsushita in the AlphaTauri as well up at the front leading this train. And we've gotten through most of it now, just Matsushita left in front of us. He pulls out the way, and we managed to get through there cleanly without losing too much time. And now we are closing up to Daniel Ricciardo, who currently sits in 5th position. So let's see.
Ricciardo ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 2.3 seconds. They're on old mediums.
If we can chase him down, we get more lapped cars to help us with a bit of DRS assistance along the straight, and we'll certainly take that as we continue to close the gap to Daniel Ricciardo, as he's got a little bit less pace than us at the moment, as we've got the brand new tyres on the car. Although they're probably not so brand new anymore, but they're in much better shape than Ricciardo's tyres, and now we are going to go for the move onto the outside of Ricciardo, and we will get that done through turn 1, and that is job done. So next up is Lewis Hamilton.
Great manoeuvre. You made it look easy.
And he's not too far up the road, so I think we can get Hamilton.
This is your final lap of the race.
By the end of the race. It is the final lap now, so it's been a fairly action-packed one in the later stages, but nonetheless we are chasing down Hamilton with the DRS open towards turn 4. We're not going to be close enough here, so if we are going to make an overtake, it's got to be in the final sector, up the inside of the final real corner, as I keep calling it. So let's see what we can do as up the road Max Verstappen wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Great job, Max Verstappen. He's been untouchable today in the later phases of this race, and he is going to come away with a full complement of 25 points as we go down the inside of Lewis Hamilton into the final sector, and it's going to be a drag race to the end now as we're still side by side. We will just edge ahead as we head through the final couple of slight bends in the road, and now Hamilton's got the DRS and we are out of fuel, and Hamilton flies past and we're down to 5th.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And we'll lose a spot and a couple of points there right on the line, but overall it's still a pretty decent recovery drive and good damage limitation for us.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
So Max Verstappen wins the Brazilian Grand Prix and extends his championship lead. Sergio Perez finishes 2nd, so it's a great day for Red Bull in the Constructors, and Lando Norris finishes 3rd.
Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Nikita Mazepin gets my vote today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, what do we say about that? Bit of a frustrating one, honestly, because we did have better pace than where we finished, but as far as recovery drives go, I'm pretty happy with that. We did still beat our teammate, which of course is always the yardstick, but yeah, it's still a bit frustrating. We lose points to Verstappen and Lando Norris in the championship. I don't think Hamilton is really in the title fight, especially now, but yeah, lose points to Red Bull as well, where we potentially could have gained or sort of scored roughly the same amount. It's a frustrating race for Tsunoda as well, getting stuck behind Matsushita with that grid penalty. Certainly didn't help, otherwise he would have been in the fight sort of at the front with the rest of us. So yeah, a few things didn't really go our way as far as the team goes as well. So yeah, the gap might be too big in the Constructors now, but looking further down the order in the top 10, obviously we've seen the top 5. Daniel Ricciardo finished 6th, Yuki Tsunoda 7th, and then it was Carlos Sainz in 8th, Charles Leclerc 9th, so both Ferraris making it to the end this time, but a tough day for them still. And then 10th place for Pierre Gasly, so a few more points, or another point rather, for AlphaTauri. We did get the fastest lap, so that is another point for us, and who knows, that could prove crucial by the end of the season. But yeah, looking at the Drivers' Championship now, we currently sit in 2nd position still, behind Max Verstappen, but he has extended his lead significantly over us. Lando Norris sits 3rd ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in 4th, still probably in contention, but he'll need a good race very soon if he wants to stay in contention. As for the Constructors, we sit 3rd, a good 90 odd points behind, so yeah, we probably out of the fight there, but nonetheless, we'll see what we can do. 3 races to go in the season, anything can happen, so we're not going to lose hope yet, especially in the Drivers' Championship. So that brings an end then to the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, and we sit 1 point behind Verstappen in our new rivalry. I actually didn't notice, but we actually beat Hamilton in our rivalry last time. It was 28 points versus 26 for myself and Hamilton respectively, but I assume the rivalry ended when one of us reached 30 points, as we missed the
our income's solid at the moment.
Slingshot Fuels
We should start considering where we can look to invest the profit
sponsor money for not getting a podium. But yeah, I actually assumed the rivalry ended when one of us hit 30 points, but apparently it ends after a certain period of time if neither of us managed that number. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get into the HQ stuff. As you can see, the timeline filling in there as we organise ourselves for the next race. The next race is my home race, the Australian Grand Prix down in Melbourne. So looking forward to that one. But anyway, you can see chopping and changing what we're putting in the activity timeline. But in the end, we're going to go for the simulator training as well as the sponsor advertisement vehicle, and we will visit sponsor headquarters. We will upgrade the fabrication in the chassis facility. And now as we go through the timeline, we get a personnel department event. So it looks like Paddock Pass want to crash the party at our HQ, and yeah, sure, that'll boost our team acclaim.
You handled that well. Thank you.
We'll purchase an upgrade to the MGU-H durability. Not that it will have time to do much, it will only be on the car for the final race, but every little bit helps. Actually, we're going to rush it in, so it'll be on the car in time for Jeddah. But other than the facility upgrades coming in, there wasn't really anything else left to cover for this one, so I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, it's always very helpful, but other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.